Greg, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I've been thinking about different kinds of fun lately. And one of the good things about growing up in Ohio was that we had the biggest, fastest roller coasters in the world. And I went back to ride this roller coaster a couple of years ago. It's supposed to be like a drag race, and it launches you from 0 to 120 miles an hour in 4 seconds. And then it shoots you straight up 400 feet in the air, which is like 40 stories. And then you come straight back down in kind of a spiral. So I thought I'd show you this experience of, I think this is pretty much pure fun.
This is the view from the front row, and it's not been edited, sped up, or altered in any way.
It is astonishingly intense. So that's one kind of fun. But there's this other kind of fun that people call it fun, but I don't think it actually is fun. And I would call it rewarding. It's closely related, but there's an important distinction. So a couple of summers ago, I went up to Lassen in Northern California, and I wanted to go on this hike. And there was this cinder cone, volcanic little mountain, and I wanted to climb it. And there was a loop that you could take that went around these lakes and around this big lava field. And I decided to do it the long way, go around and put the cinder cone at the end. Save the best for last. And it turned out that it was a longer hike than I realized. It was about 9 miles in. I was finally getting close to the cinder cone, and I was exhausted. And as I sometimes do, I had not taken enough water with me, so I was almost out of water, really thirsty. And I get to the base of it, and I'm like, oh, I'm so exhausted. Maybe I should just skip it. But I'd come that far, and I was like, I'm going to try. So I went up, started climbing it, and it's cinders that are like at the angle of repose. There's your geology science term for the morning. They just want to roll down, and so you'd take a step and then you would slide back, sometimes more than you had stepped, and every step you just barely moved. And I was so exhausted when I got to the top, but as I came over the edge, this is what I saw. It was this amazing double crater with this spectacular view, and it just made me start crying from happiness at how beautiful it was. And so I had gone from being absolutely miserable to like completely happy just as I accomplished this task. I don't have a video of me at the top of the mountain, but I did find this guy's video of himself talking about climbing the top of the mountain. And he doesn't cry, but you can tell that he's pretty excited about his climb.
All right, here we are, top of Gothic Mountain. Not sure the elevation, somewhere between 12.5, 12.6. There's Crested Butte off in the distance. It's feeling good today, and I absolutely dominated the mountain. It took me about an hour and 20 minutes to get up, and oh yeah, I didn't stop once the entire way up, which is pretty awesome.
So what's the difference between these two experiences? Fun and rewarding. They both feel good, but I think that feeling bad is actually a part of both as well. And so I'm trying to outdo Andy on the Nerdometer, and I have made a chart of fun. So here we have baseline. This is just so you're kind of feeling good about life. And then you do something fun, and you're like, yeah, it feels great. Pleasure, up. But the thing is about fun is that if you pay attention, lots of times there's this kind of letdown afterwards. And depends on the kind of fun, how big that letdown is. Some kinds of chemically induced fun. This is like physical illness. And you slowly come back to normal again. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you do something really fun and then you do it again right away, it's not as fun. You keep doing it, it's kind of like, this is boring. Which tends to make you want to do something even bigger and more fun. And so there's this cycle that psychologists term the hedonic treadmill, where you have to keep doing bigger and bigger things, or the fun gets less and less. And this has a lot to do with the dynamics of addiction, where your baseline happiness just kind of gets pushed down by these repeated fun experiences, seemingly fun experiences, to the point where you kind of have to do the fun thing just to feel normal. On the other hand, there's rewarding. And with rewarding things, the unpleasant part comes first. It's called work. You work hard, and then you feel good. There's a payoff at the end, which tends to bring up your overall level of happiness. You do this repeatedly, you have this rewarding experience, and you're like, I want to work harder and longer. And you do something even better, and then you work even harder, and you end up doing great things. So it's kind of a productive hedonic treadmill. So I have some examples of things that are fun and rewarding. Watching a movie is fun. Making a movie is rewarding. You can watch a sport, which is fun, definitely. Or you can play a sport, which is rewarding. You can have friends who are just like you, maybe not quite this close, and that's fun. Or you could have friends who are very different from yourself, which has challenges, but its own rewards. You can go out for a fancy dinner, which is fun. And you can text through it, or whatever she was doing. Or you can grow your own food and cook your own gourmet dinner, and that is a lot more rewarding. So think for a moment, see if you can think of something you've done in your life that's just fun, and some things you've done in your life that are rewarding. Got some in mind? It might not be as simple as these just two categories. Some of the things that we think are fun, like video games, people say video games are fun, but actually good games are frustrating. What makes them enjoyable is that they give you a sense of accomplishment, and I think that actually puts them in the rewarding category. And then there's something like whitewater rafting. It takes some work. It can be a challenge, but I think that the payoff is probably more fun than the amount of reward you're getting, especially when the guide is the one who's doing all the work. There's also the fact that you can use things that are pure fun to reward yourself for doing things that maybe don't seem as fun and don't have as much inherent reward. You could say, when I've added 15 sources to my bibliography, which of course is going to pay off in the end and be very rewarding, but when I've added 15 sources to my bibliography, I can play Call of Duty. Or you can say, I can go over to my friend's house as soon as I unload the dishwasher. So you set yourself up with a reward that is fun. But one of the big questions in life is how you're going to spend your time, your work time and your free time. But I've never really heard anybody talk about this in terms of whether it's better for life to be fun or rewarding. The fact is, nobody is going to pay you just to have fun. But you can have a job that's rewarding. Some people don't worry so much about a rewarding job, and they just get a job that pays them, that they don't like, that pays them enough money that they can buy fun. I don't feel like that's actually a very satisfying life, at least for me. If your job is really rewarding, or the things that you do during your free time, making tons of money isn't really as important. It's not really necessary to buy fun, because rewarding isn't something you can buy. So, while you should definitely ride some roller coasters in life and have some fun, I hope that isn't all you fill your life with. I think life will be more satisfying if you climb some mountains too, and the bigger the better. Thank you.